What if the children who ran barefoot on cracked dry earth, who ate one meal a day, who had never seen a television, ran faster than everyone else on the planet? What if poverty was never the obstacle? What if it was the fuel? This is a story about a village that the world forgot. A village where children woke up before sunrise, not for school, but for survival. And yet, from that forgotten place, in that impossible soil, something extraordinary grew. 3 champions, 3 gold medals, 3 human beings who stood on the highest podium in the world and made an entire nation weep. This will not just inspire you, it will completely change the way you think about limitation. Because limitation, this story proves, is sometimes just another word for preparation. The village was called Bekoji. It sat high in the mountains of Ethiopia, at an altitude so extreme that simply breathing was harder there than anywhere else. The air was thin, the winters were brutal, the roads were dirt tracks that turned to mud when the rains came. Most families lived in small stone houses with no electricity and no running water. Children carried water from rivers every morning before school. Some walked 12 kilometers each way just to reach a classroom. But they walked fast. And then they ran. It started with a man named Sentayehu Eshitu. He was a physical education teacher at the local school, a quiet, serious man who had grown up in the same mountains, who had run the same dirt paths as a child. He understood something about these children that outsiders never could. He understood that they were already athletes. They just did not know it yet. Every morning, before the school day began, Sentayehu gathered willing children and took them to run. Not on a track. There was no track. They ran on mountain paths, up steep inclines, through thin, cold air that burned the lungs and built them at the same time. They ran in bare feet because shoes were a luxury most families could not afford. They ran because Sentayehu asked them to, and because in Bekoji, you respected your teacher completely and without question. The first child who changed everything was a girl named Derartu Tulu. She was 12 years old when Sentayehu first noticed her. She was not the fastest child that first morning, not even close. But she had something that speed alone cannot give: endurance. While other children slowed and stopped and bent over gasping, Derartu kept running. Her face was calm, her breathing was controlled. She looked, Sentayehu later said, like someone who had made a private agreement with pain. Like she had already decided, somewhere deep inside, that pain was not a reason to stop. He trained her for 4 years, with no equipment, no proper shoes until much later, no sports nutrition, no fancy facilities, just mountains and morning air and a teacher who believed in something he could not yet prove. In 1992, Derartu Tulu stood at the starting line of the 10,000-meter race at the Barcelona Olympics. She was 20 years old, representing a country the world associated with famine and suffering, not triumph. When the race began, nobody expected anything from her. She won. Not closely. She won with a time that left the stadium silent for 1 full second before it erupted. She became the first black African woman to win an Olympic gold medal in the history of the Games. When she crossed the finish line, she did not collapse. She looked up at the sky for a long moment, as if saying something to someone only she could see. Then she wept. Back in Bekoji, in a village with no television, news traveled the way it always had, person to person, voice to voice, spreading through the mountain air like something carried on the wind. And when it arrived, the village ran into the streets. They sang, they danced on that cracked, dry earth until the stars came out. And then something shifted, something invisible but enormous. Because now the children of Bekoji knew something they had not known before. They knew it was possible. 2 more champions followed. Tirunesh Dibaba, also from Bekoji, trained on the same mountain paths. She won gold at Athens in 2004 and again in Beijing in 2008, becoming one of the greatest distance runners in history. and Kenenisa Bekele, who grew up running to school on those same dirt roads, barefoot, every stone of every path known to his feet, became arguably the greatest long-distance runner the world has ever seen. He broke world records that scientists said were unbreakable. He won gold medals that looked, to those watching, less like athletic achievement and more like something approaching the miraculous. 3 champions, from one village, from one forgotten, unmapped, overlooked place high in the mountains. The world tried to explain it scientifically. Researchers came and measured altitudes and oxygen levels. They wrote papers about genetics and high-elevation physiology. All of those explanations contained truth, but none of them contained the whole truth. The whole truth was simpler. These children grew up believing that the distance between where they were and where they wanted to be was something to be crossed on foot. They had been crossing distances on foot their entire lives. Difficulty was not a disruption to their lives. It was the texture of their lives. And when they were asked to run, they ran the way they had always lived, with everything they had for as long as it took, without stopping. Sentayahu Heshetu never went to the Olympics. He never stood on a podium. He stayed in Bekoji, in his small school, on his mountain, gathering children every morning and taking them to run on dirt paths. When a journalist visited him in 2010 and asked how he had produced so many champions, he smiled slowly and shook his head. He said, "I did not produce them. They were already here. I just asked them to show me what they could do. And they showed the world." Goodbye for now, and I will see you very soon in our next story. Until then, keep reading, keep learning, and never stop asking questions.